This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Winnipeg has held the title of Slurpee Capital of the World for more than 2 decades, but chronic problems with theft and safety could threaten that claim to fame. CBC's Cameron McLean reports several 7-Eleven locations in the city are at risk of closing.
Mallory Amond and her daughter Navia come to the 7-Eleven at Salter and Flora almost every day. They say theft is a regular occurrence.
We were just in there and somebody was trying to steal, it happens every single day.
Amond says she and other customers have tried intervening to stop the thefts. But despite their efforts, officials from the companies say this store could close if concerns about crime and employee safety aren't addressed. Amond says that would leave her and her daughter with fewer options to buy food.
I get where 7-Eleven's coming from of wanting to close their stores, but at the same time, they're taking away business from people that actually want their services.
This isn't the only location in the city at risk of closing. This store at the corner of Ellis and Arlington is one of 10 7-Eleven locations in Winnipeg that could potentially close due to crime. 2 city councillors told CBC News they met with officials from the company last week to discuss the issue. The 10 locations are concentrated in the North End, West End, as well as one store in Fort Rouge and one in East Kildonan. Minarski councillor Ross Eady says he and Point Douglas councillor Vivian Santos sat down with the company's CEO last Friday.
They asked Councillor Santos and I if we had any ideas how to resolve or stop this problem. And really, what could I say?
The councillors advised the company to consider adding security guards, locking their doors, and reaching out to the local business improvement zones. Winnipeg Police launched an anti-retail theft initiative earlier this summer. In a statement, the police service said it is working with retailers to address issues of theft and violence. Santos says the loss of the stores would put food further out of reach of inner-city residents.
If these stores, like such a major chain like 7-Eleven, closes, that's going to continue on with the food insecurity in our community, and we don't want that. Data
from the company shows that thefts at the North End locations in the first quarter of this year almost equal the total number from all of last year. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
CBC News reached out to the company for comment, but we have yet to receive a response. An evacuation is underway at Bunnabonaby Cree Nation as a raging wildfire burns out of control, encroaching on the community in northeastern Manitoba. The blaze has been burning out of control since last week, but has now grown to more than 5,700 hectares in size. The fire is now roughly 10 kilometers from the community known as Oxford House. The military has been called in to help after a request from the province to the federal government was made earlier. Chief Richard Hart says planes, including military Hercules, are working to get roughly 2,800 people flown out of the community. The province says south winds are expected to push it even closer. Evacuees are being relocated to Winnipeg, Brandon, and Thompson.
Although it's hard to have an estimated time when the things are coming and going so frequently. So what we're seeing is that we're having a large group of people at the airport right now, and it's just I've never seen anything like it.
The Manitoba Wildfire Service and local fire departments have established value protection resources, including sprinklers in the community. It also says additional resources are being deployed to assist with protection and also responses. When it comes to tracking down alleged criminals, what's old is new again. Manitoba is bringing back ankle bracelets. The province stopped using this device years ago because they said it was ineffective. But the Justice Minister says the technology since has improved significantly. The CBC's Ian Fraze reports.
Actually, the star of the show, so I get it.
The Justice Minister knows what everyone wants to see, the ankle bracelet. The device that keeps tabs on alleged criminals is returning.
We know that there's need for this, and we know that there's a lot of opportunity to grow.
The GPS monitor will be used for people out on bail, but only if a judge asks.
If we can use these kind of technologies to break the cycle, to give people an opportunity to meet their bail conditions and ultimately keep our community safer, that's what it's about.
The PCs actually canceled this program 7 years ago after an NDP-ordered review found them ineffective. Then last year, the PCs changed course, even advertising ankle bracelets before the province was using them.
I'm glad that the NDP followed suit on what we had done the research and put it forward from our government.
The NDP's Justice Minister is convinced today's ankle bracelets are effective. The GPS is precise. Law enforcement can even talk to the person wearing it. A criminologist says it makes sense ankle bracelets would work, but
many people, when they commit crimes, are not acting rationally at all.
The province also hopes this puts a dent into retail crime. Shoplifting is getting increasingly violent.
GPS devices should be utilized for the more severe crimes, and sadly, that's what we're seeing in retail.
The province is starting with 100 ankle bracelets. It can buy more if needed. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The sister of a 15-year-old attacked with a machete says it's a miracle her brother is alive. The teen is on strict bed rest right now, but his injuries will change his life. Zubina Ahmed talked to the boy's sister, but CBC is not using her name to protect the youth's identity under the Youth Criminal Justice Act.
It was here in this area on Selkirk Avenue where a teen was attacked with a machete. The teen's sister tells us her brother was walking with a group of friends at around 11 on Saturday night. Police say two 15-year-olds got into a dispute that quickly escalated. The police and the sister say the boys didn't know each other.
Two people came out and started chasing them, and they ran, and Brody was the first to run out of breath, and they caught him and robbed him and beat him and attacked him with a machete.
The sister says her brother was rushed to the hospital in a critical condition. He was so badly hurt that the family didn't think he would survive. The sister says her brother went through a 20-hour surgery.
He had nerves reattached in not only his hands, but his legs and his back and his face and his head. Like it's a miracle he's alive. We don't know how, but he has a skull fracture, but no bleeding or bruising in the brain. Like, it's a complete miracle he's in the condition he is. And, like, they missed all his vital organs.
According to the police, the accused is charged with aggravated assault. But the sister says the charge is not enough.
The severity of the attack and the fact that his perpetrator was only charged with aggravated assault, to me, that's sickening. It's insulting. Like, this was attempted murder.
Justice Minister Matt Wiebe says the province will be taking steps to limit the sale and access to machetes. He hasn't said how he plans to do this, but will discuss in the legislature this fall. Winnipeg's mayor says he supports the ban and restriction on machetes use. Zubina Ahmed, CBC News, Winnipeg.
COVID cases are on the rise in Winnipeg this summer, and an epidemiologist says those numbers are likely to keep growing. In the south end of the city, high virus activity has been detected in the wastewater. In the west end, those numbers are moderate, and so far, levels are low in the north end. Dr. Christopher Labos says COVID, like the flu, keeps changing. He says a vaccine is in the works.
It's possible that it won't be an exact match by the time it rolls out in the fall, but it will be an improvement compared to the vaccine that was rolled out last year. So come the fall, when we roll out the flu vaccine, it's highly likely that at the same time, just for the purposes of convenience, there's going to be an updated COVID vaccine.
Labos says even though the COVID situation isn't as dire as it was in 2020, it's not a benign virus. He says there are still long-term health effects associated with contracting it. Library hours in Winnipeg are set to start expanding this fall, but one parent in Fort Garry says her local branch is losing out. Carla Epp takes her kids to the library in the mornings, but the Fort Garry Library branch is expected to lose 3 mornings as opening hours are pushed back from 10 to noon. For Epp and her kids, that means fewer opportunities to take out books and access programming.
If you look at libraries across the country, we are poorly funded, poorly resourced. We have far fewer programs we just don't offer nearly as much. And it's one of the few free things, free resources, free places. It's an equalizer for people.
A report last fall found Winnipeggers were frustrated by inconsistent and confusing hours at library branches. The changes take effect September 3rd and will increase library hours overall by 12%. Well, it was still a warm day out there. There's also been thunderstorms and rain that we've been tracking in different parts of the province. Ethan Williams is in now for a look at your forecast. Ethan.
Well, thanks, Brittany, and a much more unsettled day today with showers and thunderstorms through the southwest and severe thunderstorm watches still in effect. We have cloud cover now all over southern Manitoba, and we've noticed the winds picking up as well. That's in the south. In the north, still dealing with widespread air quality advisories and the heat warnings, too, which are now starting to come to an end as temperatures will especially take a tumble tomorrow. And part of the reason for that, this low pressure system bringing moisture through the north and the associated cold front as well going to be slicing through. For southern Manitoba, that low pressure system along with the trough of low pressure along with it is going to push those showers and thunderstorms eastward through the night tonight. Kind of along that, all areas of eastern Manitoba going to be seeing those rain showers. Even as we head into tomorrow morning, I think it's going to combine with another area of low pressure in North Dakota and bring some showers still kind of through the day, through the Winnipeg region. That also will keep our temperatures on the cooler side tomorrow. Western sections, though, I think we'll get some clearing into the afternoon. And then once this whole thing passes by, as we get into Friday and the weekend, we have an area of high pressure, which is going to bring some drier and brighter conditions for us. But there's a caveat that cold front moving through is going to very quickly bring through smoke from fires in northern Alberta and Saskatchewan, and not only to the north, but you notice us here in Winnipeg and throughout all of southern Manitoba, I think by Friday morning are going to notice a significant deterioration in air quality, which could last through the weekend. That may be aided by some rain showers that we're going to get. Some models have this pushed a little further west, but these numbers, keep in mind, are largely dependent on where we see thunderstorms pop up, and those could locally bring 20 to 30 millimeters, especially through the night tonight. So all of us have a chance of that through southern Manitoba. Warm night with temperatures in between 15 and 20 degrees, and a pretty much identical forecast for the north tonight, especially a better chance of showers in eastern regions. And those are still lingering by tomorrow morning. And keep in mind, these temperatures not going to rise all that much, especially along the Hudson Bay coast for tomorrow as those showers continue to move through and that cold front comes through. We'll start the day with some rain in Winnipeg and the southeast. Maybe some clearing will bump us up into the mid-20s into Westman and the Parkland region. But for Winnipeg and southeastern sections throughout the Red River Valley, we're still looking at showers continuing likely into the afternoon before things clear out as we head into Friday. I'll let you know what temperatures are going to be looking like as we head toward the weekend, Brittany, coming up.
Thank you, Ethan. Mpox infections are on the rise in Africa and is spreading rapidly around the world. It's prompted the WHO to name Mpox a public health emergency of international concern. More on that after this short break. The World Health Organization today declared Mpox a global public health emergency for a second time in 2 years. Infections have been skyrocketing in Africa as a new form of the virus is spreading among children and adults. Cases have been confirmed in more than a dozen countries. The CBC's Albert Delatella has the latest.
It's the second time now that the World Health Organization has declared a public health emergency of international concern for Mpox. And it follows outbreaks in Congo and elsewhere in Africa, with cases seen among children, adults, in more than a dozen countries. In addition, Mpox, which was known as monkeypox, known for causing painful pus-filled lesions, also can cause severe illness or even death as well. It was first in the headlines a few years ago, the summer of 2022, after an explosion of illnesses then, and that's when the last public health emergency like this was declared by the WHO. That lasted about 10 months. The WHO says that in this current outbreak, the cases have actually exceeded the total number seen in all of last year. So they said about 14,000 cases so far as well, 524 deaths, they say.
The situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. The detection and rapid spread of a new clade of Mpox in eastern DRC, its detection in neighboring countries that had not previously reported Mpox, and the potential for further spread within Africa and beyond is very worrying.
So the WHO says that it's working on the ground in affected countries with its partners there. It says it's supporting laboratories to sequence viral samples, training health workers, supporting clinicians to provide appropriate care, also supporting countries to access vaccines and helping them with rolling out those vaccines. Albert Delatella, CBC News, Toronto.
Hundreds of people in northern Saskatchewan are under an evacuation order. A wildfire is moving towards Sandy Bay, and the smoke is making for unbearable conditions. Some evacuees have already moved south to Prince Albert and other nearby communities. Jason Warwick has the story.
See that fire? Look at it, flared up big time.
As raging forest fires threaten the northern Saskatchewan community of Sandy Bay,
See a fire there too?
Elder Evelyn McDonald was evacuated Tuesday from her home in the Northern Reserve.
I went for a walk and I took pictures. I seen a lot of smoke. Oh, I started anxiety. I panicked.
The community is included under the umbrella of Peter Ballantine Cree Nation. Evacuees say the flames were getting closer just before they left, and the smoke made it difficult for them to breathe. They're staying in hotels in Prince Albert and other cities. The elderly and vulnerable were taken out first. Dozens of other people are expected to join them this week.
I'm worried about my grandchildren. Some of my kids are still back home, but they'll be in today, I hope.
The elders tell me they have everything they need here in Prince Albert, but they'd much rather be at home. The chief of the Peter Ballantine Cree Nation says it didn't have to be this way. He says that the provincial government refused to mobilize First Nations firefighters when the flames were lower several weeks ago, and as a result, the fire has gotten out of control.
And yet we have hundreds of firefighters. Lac La Ronge has firefighters. Peter Ballantine has firefighters. Montreal Lake, all the Woodland Cree. We have the Northern Dene. They have very well-trained firefighters as well, experienced firefighters that could be utilized. I just can't figure it out. Why would you let a fire go that's close to a community until it becomes a huge problem and then try and manage it? At that point, it's unmanageable.
Right now, the wildfire covers an area of roughly 130 square kilometers. That's roughly double the size of the city of Prince Albert. No one from the provincial government was made available for an interview, but in a statement, they say that they're monitoring the situation and will take any necessary measures. Jason Warwick, CBC News, Prince Albert.
Summer is peak mosquito season. Just last week, the Manitoba government started spraying for mosquitoes in the Altona area and parts of Winnipeg because of the high risk of West Nile infections. But in Ottawa, officials are taking a different approach to prevent the spread and using drones. CBC's Jocelyn Sheppel reports.
Equipped for takeoff, the mosquito-killing drone is ready. Filled with larvicide, the large machine takes flight. Richard Trudell, a scientific advisor, oversees the drone operation.
They can hold larger quantity of larvicide. So like this one, I think it's 25 kilograms that you can put larvicide in the tank.
He says it's best suited for large bodies of water and harder to reach areas.
The pilot just needs to start the machine, and the machine knows exactly where it needs to go. And depending on the span of the spraying, because it sprays, I think it's about 20 feet wide. So the machine knows after the next line, they know where it goes.
Their work isn't just in the sky and river, but on the ground as well, even by bike. It's all part of a West Nile virus prevention program, led by Allison Samuel, who says the larvicide they use is safe.
They are known to be environmentally friendly, so not expected to affect your pets or humans or even the bodies of water that are treated with these products. So definitely products that we use are approved.
Tufik Sirhan lives nearby. He says the mosquitoes have been so bad his kids had to be taken to the hospital.
Mosquitoes is a really bad obstacle for everybody to go outside. We can't even enjoy our parking sitting there. We can't enjoy even go inside the backyard or playing the field basketball. But in the summertime, we can't even enjoy it because of the mosquitoes.
Just outside his yard, the West Nile prevention team tests the water basin by his home for the virus. He hopes this drone operation will help. Jocelyn Chappelle, CBC News, Ottawa.
As we head to break, here are some shots from OCN. The 58th annual Opaskwayak Indigenous Days Parade was on today. Still ahead, Ethan Williamson with the 7-day forecast. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News.
Well, Teddy has secured his spot on the couch, and that is probably where he and all the other dogs are going to be staying tomorrow, because we are looking for a wet one in Winnipeg, or at least in the morning hours before cloudy skies with a chance of showers into the afternoon. Temperature of only 22 tomorrow. Then that smoke moves in for Friday as temperatures bump back up. Humidex values into the 30s for the first part of the weekend with a chance of showers Sunday, and then some nicer conditions with brighter skies and more seasonal temperatures, or even a bit above that for the start of next week. With that excess moisture, could feel into the mid-30s at times, especially into Tuesday as those overnight lows start to get closer to that 20-degree mark, Brittany.
Thanks, Ethan. Well, not all dogs love the water. Some were bred for daring aquatic missions, though. In Ottawa, a local group takes their canines to the water a few times a week to train in rescue simulations. Here's your daily lift.
She has to go actually under the raft to get the ball.
So we just wait?
Yeah.
And like, what's it like when a 120-pound dog comes?
Oh my god! Hungry? All right, go on. Go under.
There he is. Dog owners have been bringing their furry friends to the Ottawa River to practice in various scenarios. The Newfoundland dogs and one Labrador retriever swim out to haul boats and their owners back to shore. There are 3 different training levels the dogs can achieve. The owners say it's a way for the dogs to reconnect with their genetic roots and a great opportunity to socialize. See, my pup likes to walk out but not quite swim, so I might be in trouble. We will be back here tomorrow night. Have a wonderful evening. Stay dry.